Good morning and welcome again to our Friday Ramble. This is week 39. We're almost at a year now. Goodness me. Anyway, I hope yet again you've had a good week. The sun is shining here. I hope it is for you down in Swanage or wherever you are. It's been a good week. Last week we managed our Advent Carol service on a very short amount of rehearsal, but I was really pleased with the choir. I thought they did really well. And it was just lovely to be back singing some of those lovely Advent hymns and a few Advent carols. So I hope if you got the chance to do that in your local church, that would be great. Or if you caught one of the online services as well. There's so much wonderful music that is written for the Advent season. So how did you get on with Quickfire 5 last week? I've had one or two people telling me that they've been struggling with getting 5. As I say, it's just trivia and just a bit of fun, but it's good to stretch your brains a little bit. So let's get straight into it. Just get my piece of paper here with last week's question. And the first question was the proper title, I should have used that word, shouldn't I? The proper title of the organist master of the choristers at Magdalen College in Oxford. And the posh title is Informator Choristarum. Informator Choristarum. Very posh, isn't it? Why don't you just call him choirmaster? But that's what it is. Question 2. Which composer had a wooden leg and used to stick pins into it during tutorials at Cambridge? The answer to that question is Patrick Hadley. Patrick Hadley, who wrote the lovely Easter anthem My Beloved Spake, and actually for Christmas time wrote a beautiful little 2-part soprano carol, I Sing of a Maiden, which is in Carols for Choirs Book 2. Have a listen to that on YouTube, I Sing of a Maiden by Patrick Hadley. It's really good. But he used to stick pins into his wooden leg. Terrible. Can you name, this is question 3, can you name 2 famous boy trebles? Well, that's a tough one, isn't it? It's quite interesting, really. I suppose Ernest Luff, going back from the Temple, who sang that very famous recording of Over the Wings of a Dove. Roy Goodman at King's College, Cambridge, who recorded Allegri's Miserere with David Wilcox. Peter Orty, he sang The Snowman. No, it wasn't Aled. Peter Orty did. Aled later recorded it. So, of course, yeah, there's Mr. Jones as well. Have to include him. And actually, here's one other one. Real bit of trivia here. Did you know that Keith Richards in the Rolling Stones, you know, the guitarist geezer, he sang in a trio at the coronation of Elizabeth II. Keith Richards from the Rolling Stones, I Can't Get No Satisfaction, sang in the coronation. Bet you didn't know that one. So there you go. Question 4. Mrs. C.F. Alexander was well known as a hymn writer. Can you name 2 of her hymns? Well, I suppose the most famous ones that she wrote were All Things Bright and Beautiful, There Is a Green Hill Far Away, Once in Royal David City, and she did her own arrangement of St. Patrick's Breastplate, I Bind Unto Myself Today. Jesus Calls Us Over the Tumult. Lots to choose from. Wonderful hymn writer. Did you get those right? And finally, Allegri's Miserere. Who is supposed to have, as a 14-year-old boy, gone to the Sistine Chapel, heard the Miserere being sung because they weren't allowed to let the copies out, and wrote it down? The answer is Mozart. Mozart. Okay, so there's the 5. See if you got 5 for that. Let me know if you got 5. And so here's 5 more. 5 more to test your brain power. Having had the Informator Choristarum, I thought I'd go for another one for question number 1. What is the proper title of the organist of the Nottingham Cathedral, Southwell Minster? The guy that runs the choir at Southwell Minster also rejoices under a rather pretentious posh title. Do you know what it is? Question 2. How long is the echo in St Paul's Cathedral? It's jolly hard to sing in St Paul's, but have you got an idea how long the echo is? Question 3. Here's a really interesting one. This is quite an amazing fact. This time of year we often think of Handel's Messiah. Do you know how long it took Handel to write the Messiah? How long did it take him actually to write the whole oratorio? Question 4. The contemporary composer John Tavener, who wrote all sorts of wonderful, slightly way out pieces, including the song for Athene, which was very famously performed at Princess Diana's funeral. John Tavener lived in a village and worked for many years, and in fact is buried there. He lived in a village in Dorset. Do you know which village it was? And finally, this is an easy peasy one, as these have been a bit tougher. Can you name the 3 cathedrals that are involved in the Three Choirs Festival, the annual Three Choirs Festival? What are the names of the 3 cathedrals? So, there we go. There's Quickfire 5 for this week. So, just to remind you that we have our online services, www.swanageteam.com, where you can go and you can sing along and join with everyone else in the liturgy. Or you can come to Choral Evensong Eucharist this Sunday at St Mary's at 10:30, Choral Evensong 6:30. Be lovely to see you. So, for my recommendation for music this week, Advent, as I said, so many wonderful Advent carols, but there are some blockbusters too. And last week I told you about The Wilderness by Wesley, which is a real blockbuster. But this week, another of my absolute favourites, and I remember as a kid singing it, and I used to love directing it. It's such an exciting piece. I have a feeling the dog's going to bark in a minute. And it is by Edward Naylor, and the piece is called Vox Dicentis. I heard a voice crying out in the wilderness. It's written in Latin. Naylor was born in Yorkshire. He was a Yorkshireman actually, and his dad was actually the organist of York Minster. And so the music was in the blood. He studied in London at Music College. He studied at Cambridge at Emmanuel College, and then returned to Emmanuel for many years as the organist and director of music. He wrote all sorts of music, but quite a lot of church music. He wrote an opera. He wrote a fantastic set of canticles, Naylor in A, unaccompanied double choir. Something else to look up on YouTube, Naylor in A. Wonderful, wonderful canticle settings. But Vox Dicentis is probably his most famous piece. It was written in 1911 for the choir of King's College, Cambridge, and an amazing acoustic. So it's very spatial. It's unaccompanied, written in 8 parts. There are 4 sections to it. The very opening is very operatic, the declamatory statement at the beginning. But then you have a wonderful fugue, Super Montem, which I always loved singing. 2 big sections in the middle, and then the final section of the voice crying out, a solo treble, and it really is Sicut Pastor. It is so beautiful, so beautiful. So I hope you enjoy it. Again, it's quite a long anthem, but it's really good. And I'm going to point you to 2 performances actually. One by David Wilcox on that really amazing recording, Anthems from Kings, that everyone had, which has been remastered. And then a wonderful performance by Andy Lumsden and the Winchester Cathedral Choir, which has just got such excitement to it. So you can choose either of those 2. I've copied in the music and the text and translation for you. So you should have everything you need. Okay, so enjoy that. Vox Dicentis by Naylor, E.W. Naylor. Can you hear the dog? He's whining, he wants to go out. So I'll let him out and I'll pop across to the piano to do a bit of singing. Right, that was a tricky move from there to here, but here I am, ready to sing and to get you to sing along with me. So let's start off with a humming exercise. We've done this before, I think, quite a while ago. We go up an octave, going to go like this. You right like this again? And then we'll go up in semitones, alright? So, just lips closed, here we go. Very Very good. Okay, and now do you remember this one? We're going to go up to Mia. Mia, 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 me. And then we're going to come down to We are. We are, 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 we. Alright, so M and W, and work at those. Alright, so it's about mezzo forte. Okay, 2, 3, 4. Mia, 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 Mia. We are, 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 we. Mia, 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 me. We are, 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 we. Mia, 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 me. We are, 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 we. Mia, 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 me. We are, 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 we. One more. Mia, 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 me. Excuse me. We are, 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 we. Jolly good. And let's just finish with some triads to R, going ah, go. Ah, only just made that, and I forgot what key I was in halfway through that, but I hope it didn't put you off too much. There's the dog again. I let him out, now he wants to come in again. Never satisfied, that dog. Okay, so I hope that was a bit of fun. I hope you've enjoyed today. Quick fire 5, make sure you get 5. Look forward maybe to seeing you over the weekend. If not, I hope to see you soon. In the meantime, take care and stay safe.